What is dread, if not the shadow cast before the storm, the whisper of ruin before the fall? It is the unseen hand upon the throat, the tightening of breath, the slow and certain suffocation of will. Dread is not fear in its purest form, but the knowledge of its inevitability, the creeping certainty that darkness waits, that ruin lurks just beyond the reach of reason. It does not strike in a simple blow, but lingers, coiling through the mind, eroding the ground beneath our feet before we dare take a step. Dread is not the enemy of the flesh, but of the mind. It festers in the spaces between thought and action, weaving doubt where certainty should stand. It does not demand surrender, for it knows it needs none, only hesitation, only delay. A moment's pause, a glance over the shoulder, a shudder at what may come, and dread has already won. It is the stillness that invites collapse, the silence that lets the void take hold. To master dread is to step forward in defiance of its whispers. It is to acknowledge the terror that lingers at the edge of thought and refuse its governance. Dread thrives in the unknown, in the vacant spaces of certainty. Fill them, and its power withers. A man who has faced his dread and pressed on is a man who cannot be stopped, for he has already passed through the trial meant to undo him. Yet let us not mistake dread for wisdom. There are those who would call it prudence, who would drape themselves in its warnings and name themselves cautious. But caution is the measured step, while dread is the refusal to move at all. It is not knowledge, but the paralysis that masquerades as foresight. It offers no insight, only avoidance, no strength, only retreat. The wise do not reject dread, but neither do they heed it. They let it gnaw at the edges of their mind and march forward regardless. Dread is the great deceiver, a phantom that grows in the absence of action. It thrives on hesitation, feeds on inaction, blossoms in the fertile ground of uncertainty. To quell it, one must act. To master it, one must move. Step forward, speak aloud, break the stillness that dread has woven, and watch as its grip weakens. Remember this, my children, dread is not your master, but your shadow. It will follow, it will whisper, but it will not command you unless you kneel. Let it not steal your hand, nor silence your voice. In movement we find our escape, in action we find our dominion, and in the tempering of dread we find the self it was always meant to be. Rise now with fire in your heart, and let not the specter of what may come steal the breath from your lungs. For through defiance we endure, we sharpen, and we prevail. A step forward is the death of hesitation. Keir Egan.